next guest is, where is he? There he is there. Is Willie Deery, who was born and reared in Springtown Camp in Derry. He's written 2 best-selling publications with Guildhall Press, Springtown Camp from the Inside in 2010 and Derry's Dance Halls of Romance in 2011, and he's currently working on a book about Derry's shirt factory industry. So we're delighted to have our good friend Willie Deery here to read us a little from his books. Thank you.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing here because my academic qualifications can be summed up very quickly. I started school when I was 5, went to Pennyburn School, and I left at 15. And when I left with the same qualifications as I started with. In Springtown Camp there was a lot of characters, you know, there was a lot of real characters, and one of them, the well-known one, was Eddie Tipperary. You may have heard of Tip. Tip was an alcoholic, but he was well loved in Springtown Camp. He was an unoffensive man and done nobody any harm. The only harm he done was himself. There's a lovely poem written about Tip, and I'll read it out to you here. Well, listen and I'll speak of a character unique who used to walk the troubled streets of Derry. He always wore a smile, his manner could beguile, and everyone called him Tipperary. When Springtown Camp he came, and each night was the same. At all hours you could hear him loudly singing. No sooner off the bus, until there was a fuss, for all the children to his coat were clinging. Down William Street he'd sit, a man of charm and wit. The stories he could tell were quite amazing. With bottle in his hand, he didn't give a damn if all around him half the town was blazing. The life he led was tough, always sleeping rough, not too hard on the nicotine and belly. In rain and snow he'd lie, and as the years rolled by, the burden on his health, well, it grew heavy. But poor old Tip did sink beneath the sea of drink, and some days you would see him softly crying, till his body weak and sore, could not take any more. They found him lying on the streets dying. The time it marches on, and old Tipperary's gone. No more will he walk the streets of Derry. But on my life I'll bet that no one will forget that gentle soul they all call Tipperary. Thank you.
Very struck by your thoughts on Springtown, and the stigma of Springtown is something that clearly still lingers and burns, and yet so many of you became very, very successful. I'm thinking of both Theman Baker and yourself here today that made great lives for yourself. Did the experience make you more resilient?
Well, it certainly didn't lose any harm. It helped us. My first thing about the prejudice was when I was 15, I left school. My expectations weren't high, and so I seen a job advertised in the Derry Journal looking for a message boy and a chemist on the water side. So I trotted over from the camp, and it started to rain. By the time I got there, it was soaked. So I walked into the chemist shop, and the chemist was stacking shells, and the weekender was serving a customer. I said, I'm over looking for a job about the message pipe. He says, do you know much about the water side? I said, I know it all. I told the lad, I knew nothing about it. But he says, right, he says, can you ride a bike? I said, I can, sure, no problem. Where are you from? I said, Springtown Camp. I said, Springtown Camp. He stopped stacking the shells. The girl stopped serving the customer, and the customer looked at me. The three of them looked at me with 2 heads. That day I came away in there, and that's the first time I really had thing about the prejudice that was about Springtown Camp.
And yet you were the man that went on, and we might have started as a bricklayer, but you ended up bringing international stars to Derry. How do you make that step?
Well, the first dance around was a Springtown reunion dance in 1987. You know, some people said to me, "Oh, you're mad! We'll be killing each other." I said, "I have a bit of sense," you know. But they came from America, Australia, South Africa, London, all over England, Scotland, and Wales, you name it, and we all descended on the Stardust. And it started, and I was at Mass, and Reverend Rogan said to me, "You need to come down here because the place is packed already." I said, "It's only 6:30 Mass." I said, "It's packed." So I went down, and everybody was on the ball, and I was the last person out at 4:20 in the morning.
So it went on for 9 hours.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I just want to ask you a wee bit about your writing. Then you started by writing what I suppose is termed creative non-fiction. You've also done drama. Have you ever thought about trying fiction, or is that in your mind at all, or is it in your future at all?
Well, not at the minute. I don't think it would be good enough to do it, to be honest with you. But I'm searching a book now called Factory Floors and Dance Floors, about the shirt factory workers and tying it up with them going to dances, you know.
And when are we going to see that?
Well, hopefully soon, depending on Guildhall Press.
As soon as we get our finger.
No.
So perhaps this time next year or before we'll see the
hopefully,
Factory Workers and Volume 3 from the Willie Deery trilogy. That's
Okay.
great. Thank you very much, Willie.
Okay.